My name is Dan Young, and welcome to the Millionaire Code podcast. I'm a self-made guy that has made multi-million-dollar businesses from scratch. There's no way I could have done it without the help of mentors who provided me with the wisdom and guidance to help me create the formula for success. Each week on my podcast, I'm going to interview a hugely successful business person that will provide you their secrets to success. And that way can act as your mentor too. I can't wait to share their stories and takeaways with you. Welcome to Dan's Millionaire Code. Hi, welcome to Dan's Millionaire Code podcast, where every week I'll show you how to level up your financial, your physical, and your spiritual goals in your life. I'll bring on guests who will share their experience with you so you can level up faster. Today, I have entrepreneur Tyler Harris with me today. And Tyler, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Dan. I appreciate it. Glad to be here.
Thanks for coming on. I was introduced to you from my friend Sean Whalen, Madman Sean Whalen.
Madman.
Awesome guy. I see him at the gym every day, but he was talking about how awesome you are. And I read through some of your bio a little bit. And the one thing that stands out is from unemployed to millionaire in 3.5 years.
Yep.
That's pretty fast, man.
It has been fast. At times it's felt like decades. But as I stand here today, it feels like it's been a blur. It really has.
Can you give us the story of how that became from when you were tiny to this millionaire success you've had? Sure.
And it's nothing glamorous. It's just a story of some good old fashioned hard work. But about 3.5, 4 years ago, I found myself in a bad place, financially, emotionally. I'd gone through a really bad divorce. I'd gone through a business failure, and I'd really, gotten stuck playing the victim, for about a 2-year period, just playing the victim. Oh, these things happened to me. My previous spouse had an affair, and she did this happened. This business failure was something that wasn't exactly in my control, was kind of a chaotic situation that happened. And so blaming it on that and blaming all these things on everyone else but myself, and being completely content in doing that. Just being lazy and just saying look at all these things that happened to me and wanting people to feel bad for me. Talking about it, it drives me crazy to know that those 2 years I wasted, living that way. But ultimately one day I just had one of those look yourself in the mirror moments and just realized that everything that had happened, it was all my fault. And finally took ownership for all of it. And, people will always come back and they'll say, it's not all your fault. It wasn't your fault that, your spouse had an affair. And I'm like, well, if I had been the absolute best husband, created the absolute best environment, would that affair have still happened? Maybe, but probably not. And in the business failure, if I would have been exactly on top of every little thing that was going on, even the things I didn't know about, if I would have been more in tune with that business, would those things have happened? Probably not, maybe, but probably not. And so it was an encouraging place to be, in that finally taking that ownership and knowing that if I got myself into that situation, I could get myself out. But the only way that I could do that was through an insane amount of work. It was around that same time that I met some mentors. These mentors came into my life, honestly saw more in me than I saw in myself at that time, and really breathed confidence back in me. My confidence was at an all-time low, and they just began really breathing that confidence in me, and then gave me an opportunity to work with them. They were in the insurance business. That's the business that I'm in to this day. I often joke and say that if they would have sold rubber bands, I'd be sitting here in front of you as the greatest rubber band salesman there ever was. But they were in the life insurance industry, and they gave me an opportunity to hit the road and sell life insurance for them. And they gave me this goal up front. They said, hey, we've had some success with our business and with our agents. They're selling about 20 to 25 policies a week. We need you to go and take this system and absolutely hammer down and show people what's possible. Show people what's possible if they insert an insane amount of work ethic into this system we've created. And so I put my head down and went out and did that. And very quickly, sold 25, 50 policies a week, 75 policies a week, 100 policies a week. And over the last 3.5 years, I personally, one-on-one, face-to-face, have sold over 8,000 life insurance policies.
That's a lot of policies, dude.
It's a lot of policies. The average life insurance
face-to-face, like
face-to-face, one-on-one, at all hours of the morning, day, and night. 238 nights in a hotel last year, over 200 the year before, over 200 the year before. These weren't group policies administered through payroll or anything. These were individual policies. I had, I think one of my records was 297 policies in 10 days. I did one time. I did a 228 in 4 days one time.
How do you do that, man? Like, I mean,
a system.
You had like a crowd of people? Like
it was through a system that enabled us to do that, to sit down with people at all hours of the day through a niche that works 24 hours a day. So it gave me the ability to work 24 hours a day. I'd walk into meetings at 11 o'clock at night and sell 30 policies and then be back in a meeting at 5 o'clock the next morning and all throughout the day. And so went and showed people what was possible and progressed through the company there. That next 12 months after meeting these mentors, I made over $300,000 in 1099 commissions. And
nice.
As you can imagine, going from being dead broke to making over $300,000, things progressed very well in my life, and my life changed, not just with the financial aspect, but from everything else that stems from that confidence being built back up. It was exactly what I needed, because it was so fast paced and transactional that I could put in work and get that reward. And that helped build my confidence very quickly. The next 12 months made over 450. Next 12 months made close to 700 in commissions. And then became one of the owners of the company. And now we've since launched other agencies as well. And so, really over these last 4 years, my life had rapidly changed and transformed. And the first 2 years of which I didn't document any of it on social media. And I knew that was the biggest mistake that I had ever made, is not documenting that, going from being broke to those levels of success. But knowing that the next worst thing that I could do would not to start then. So 2 years ago, I started documenting my life on social media. And it's been an even wilder ride ever since. And 2 podcasts, a daily vlog, a weekly vlog, motivational brand. And we've had weeks in the last year where the weekly reach has been over 49 million. And it's just been a wild ride, but it's been the most rewarding thing that I've ever done in being able to give back. I don't monetize a single thing I've ever done on social media. There's never been a button to click to buy something, sign up for something. I've never even asked for an email. That's a mistake, but never asked for anything in return. Just wanted to put this value out there. And really it was those mentors coming into my life and changing everything, wanting to be that for somebody else. It became like an addiction for me. And when messages started coming in that were, life-changing messages, that was like adding fuel to the fire. And that's what we've been doing ever since then, is just going out and trying to be as successful as we can, but documenting the process all along, showing people, the good, bad, and ugly.
That's pretty cool, man. Is the social media and all the podcasting and all of that, does that have a halo effect on your business as well? Because I notice a lot of guys out there that are doing massive amounts of just giving it, everything they've got to people. They've mentioned that it complements sometimes their business that they don't even talk about too much.
Yeah, so it's interesting because of the niche that we serve in that agency that I was selling every day. I actually couldn't even talk about what I did. And that niche is first responders. We provide life insurance for first responders all over the country. So all your law enforcement, fire, EMS. That's where they work 24/7, which gives me the ability to work 24/7 as well. But because of the nature of what we're doing with them, and talking about income and things like that just is not a good thing to do. And so we specifically made every attempt to make it to where it didn't affect business, which meant didn't affect it positively or negatively. So it never led to any further sales. What it ultimately turned into, though, was the greatest recruiting machine of all time. Because I was showing people what it looked like to be successful and the amount of hard work that it took to be successful. And so we started running a couple Facebook ads, just retargeting followers about the opportunity to come on board as an agent with us. And,
Oh, wow.
and that now is the only place where we recruit our agents. We get 10 to 30 applications a day for people that want to come work with us. And that ultimately has been extremely, extremely profitable for us, because these people coming on board now versus your traditional job recruiting, these people are coming on board with a level of understanding of what they can make and what they can do, but also a deeper understanding of how much hard work it's going to take to get it. So we've seen an extreme upward curve of the people that are coming on board and quickly going all in and having success, which is awesome. And so that's created a whole nother level of impact in stories. Like I got a guy, Dirk, who's from Missouri, that jumped on Instagram Live. I was doing at 1 o'clock in the morning. On Instagram Live, and I was talking about some success I'd had that week. And he sends me this like super passive aggressive Instagram DM after the Instagram Live. And he said, it was just like one sentence. It was just, what kind of insurance is this you're selling? Like, as though he kind of didn't believe, excuse me, what I was saying. So I told him, and we talked on the phone that next day for about an hour and a half. And he ended up driving from Missouri to South Carolina to meet us in person, because he still wanted to make sure this was real. Long story short, in 2017, he made 40 grand. And 2018, he's on track to make almost $500,000. He'll make probably somewhere around 450. But now the fact that we're documenting all this, we have footage from him first getting started, coming to his first training boot camp here at the office. And then we've got footage of him a few months ago on stage at our awards banquet, which, completely unbeknownst to me or any of us that were filming everything, calls me out and says, Tyler, I want to thank you for what you do on social media. If I hadn't seen that Instagram Live at 1 o'clock in the morning, I wouldn't have had this transition from 40 to 400 plus $1,000. But more importantly, I've spent more time with my kids over the last 4 years because I'm not a slave to my career. And I want to thank you for that. And so documenting everything like we do has enabled us to, find these incredible stories, and that's, really where it goes from, your head to your heart, and you become more focused on, how many other people can I make successful, which you can't do until you first take care of yourself.
That's pretty awesome, man. That's pretty killer, helping that guy.
Yeah, man.
So here's a crazy question, a little shift of gears. What do you do for fun, man? With all the success, man, what do you do? It's
funny. I was talking about this the other day with someone about my social life. And I said, on one hand, I would tell you that my social life sucks. But on the other hand, I would tell you that I have the best social life, because my business partners are my absolute best friends. The people that I work with on the social media and content creation side are some of my best friends. And I genuinely enjoy doing the things that we do as far as documenting all the things on social media. And so I may not have quote unquote regular friends that I'm hanging out with on the weekends and doing this and that. But the reality is I get to spend every single day with some of my best friends. They're basically like family, and do what I love to do, which makes it to where I feel like I'm constantly having fun. Having this conversation right now, for me, that's fun. And, so it's interesting. I like to work out. I mean, that's one big area of my life that I'm very passionate about, and is a lot of fun for me, a way for me to kind of space out for an hour and a half each day. But other than that, man, it's just spending time with my family. That's it. I've got a 2-year-old daughter, and 2 is like the most incredible age I'm finding right now, because she's just absolutely full of personality and learning so much every day. And so other than spending time with family and the business, that's about it, man.
That's pretty awesome. So, anything on your bucket list that you want to experience for your family together?
Anything on the bucket list?
People have this bucket list.
Yeah, I never really thought about it. My wife and I do a vision board every year. And we actually documented it last time, of course, on Facebook Live, us creating this vision board. But I haven't really created a bucket list for the family. That may be something that we should look into doing. I do want to travel. I mean, that's a big thing. I want to travel. I want my daughter to be able to experience a lot of the things that I didn't get to experience as a child, as far as traveling, overseas, things like that. So that's something that we're going to be actively pursuing here in the near future. My wife and I are going to Cabo this week.
Oh, nice.
But my daughter's not going to be there. It's a mom and dad trip. But yeah, I think traveling, being able to spend that type of quality time with my family and in special locations, I think is something that I really want to focus on.
That's cool, man. Here's another one. This is a big one. So you were like, you went to this point in this time where you weren't nearly as successful as you wanted to be. And then you went into turbo mode, right?
Yes.
That 3.5 years though.
Yep.
What's some advice you can share for the listeners out there, to get yourself into that mindset? Like what got you to do it?
So there's a couple of things. The big thing was auditing all the different things that I was letting in. I quit watching TV. I quit doing really anything that wasn't serving me. Quit listening to music. I mean, everything was just audiobooks, podcasts, self-development. I mean, I call that period of time, especially that first year or so, this idea of waging war on personal change.
I like that one. Let me take notes on that one.
Yeah, waging war on personal change, because it wasn't this lighthearted, just growing myself or, digging into self-development. No, it was a full flat out war that I waged. And a lot of that was, trying to put myself in uncomfortable situations, any situations that I could put myself in to grow. It's one of the big quotes that I love is that, if you seek discomfort, the world will deliver you pleasure. If you seek pleasure, the world will deliver you discomfort. And so we're always trying to put ourselves in uncomfortable new positions to grow. And so a lot of the times that meant just crazy hours of work, anything that I could do to stretch myself. But just growing constantly, like the number of books that I've listened to and podcasts and YouTube videos over the last, 4 years is probably at some record level. It's absurd. But I was on the road a lot, 238 nights in a hotel last year, and it was all driving, travel. And so I was constantly on the road, but constantly being able to feed myself, with information and this stuff, it sometimes unconsciously, it's just getting dug deep and deep and deep into your brain until one day you look up and you're like, man, who is this person talking? And you can actually remember like the different podcasts and the different books were like, oh, I remember where I got that from. I remember where I got that from. It just becomes ingrained in just the way that you talk and the way you interact with others and the different things. And so that for me is huge, and equally as huge is eliminating all the negative. Eliminating any negative sources from coming in, whether that's people, whether that's like I haven't watched the news in 4 years. My wife gives me the biggest, she just gives me the biggest slack about, not watching the news. I never know what's going on, like with politics or anything. I really don't care because it's all negative. Like everything on the news you hear is just so negative that I just refuse to listen to it. I remember this past, last year when they had that big solar eclipse. I was like, what in the world is everybody doing running outside? I had no idea that this eclipse was going on because I just don't watch the news. And so little things like that, man, it sounds insignificant and even silly at times. But to me, it was everything. I listened to the book, The Secret, which this is crazy. Like The Secret's probably as watered down like Mickey Mouse version of the law of attraction as you can get. But I didn't know that at the time. And I listened to The Secret. It was the only CD that I had in my car. And it was in my car 24/7. It's the only thing I listened to for the first 12 months.
Wow.
I literally almost like memorized it, even the accents and everything, because it's multiple people talking on the audio version. But it's all I listened to. And man, it just changed the way I looked at everything and made these little seemingly insignificant things about what you're letting in and what you're saying to yourself became very real for me. And I made it my life to eliminate them and to add in just positive feedback constantly.
That's huge, man. So I got waging war on personal change and eliminating the negative, right? Those are two majorly big ones.
Absolutely.
So where do you how old are you now, man?
I'm 33.
Dude, young dude.
33.
Where do you see yourself in 20 years, man?
Oh, man. I have no idea. We just launched a new agency, and we haven't even gone public with it yet as far as what it's called, because we're kind of trying to throttle the applicants at the moment until everything's finalized on the back end. But we just launched a new insurance agency, and
Nice.
and my vision is to create 5,000 six-figure earners that are thriving in all areas of life. And we, very similar to how you talked about those 3 areas of your life, we break it down into, relationships, body, mind, and business. We actually call it life goals. So love is relationships, influence, which is the mind, finance, which is business, and energy, which is your body. And we take all of our agents through a accountability process within those to make sure that they've got goals in all those areas and that they're held accountable to them. But creating those 5,000 six-figure earners is a big part of the next 10 years for me. And it's something that I'm really focused on because, when you can help other people change their life, that to me, the rewarding aspects of that is now what I'm focused on. Seeing someone else go through, even to a smaller degree, of the life change that I went through, that's what I want to see, and that's what I want to be able to experience with others. Because that's a six-figure earner. You take someone that goes from making 40, 50 grand to 100, and their life's changed.
Oh man, yes.
Their kids' lives are changed, and the ripple effect that'll have in the community. If you want to talk about, I want to change the world. Well, great. You change the world by changing the people that are in it. And I just think that if you can have an army of six-figure earners that are all winning in the other areas of their life, then man, you can make a massive impact on this world.
That's huge, man. It sounds like, man, just getting to know you a little better, man. We have a lot of stuff in alignment here. We really wanted to change the world by helping people.
Absolutely.
So
well, and I
beautiful.
think that's anybody that, well, I wouldn't say anybody. I think that's any person with integrity that has a certain level of success. It's like an automatic next step. And like you and I talked about it earlier, those huge mentors that you've had in your life, that you get to a point where they're solely focused on how can I give to others, and I think that's the way it should be. But in order to do that, the massive amount of personal responsibility that you have to take on the front end is huge. But when you see that in others, that to me is when everything changes. When you can focus on others and not yourself. That to me, like when you talk about the law of attraction, and you talk about energy, and you talk about abundance, being able to put that out into the world, to me, is what creates that abundance mentality, and it will only bring about more success for yourself as well.
Dude, it's killer, man. This is great. I'm so glad we met, man.
Yeah.
This is going to be super valuable, I think, for everyone to hear. So where can people find you, man? Like, you're everywhere. So what are the best places people can find you?
Instagram at Tyler Harris Page. Facebook is facebook.com/Tyler Harris Page. My 2 podcasts are the Breadwinner podcast, who we had Dan on, that podcast, and the Sales Wolves podcast as well.
To follow.
But they can find all that if they follow me on Instagram or Facebook. It is all there.
Excellent, man. Tyler, I appreciate you being on Dan's Millionaire Code, and to all the listeners out there, we don't have any sponsors, advertisers, or anything. If you find this good and valuable, just share it with some friends and relatives and pay that forward. I appreciate everyone listening, and Tyler, thank you. And
Absolutely.
Maybe we can have you back on again to share more wisdom.
Absolutely. I want to hear about this code. I want to hear what Dan's Millionaire Code actually is. Maybe we can get into that.
Yeah, I've got some pretty cool stuff coming up.
Awesome.
And you'll be one of the first in my circle to see it and check it out and beta test it.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you for having me.
Cool. All right. Thanks, man.